Okay.
Here we are again.
Here you are.
Great.
Where have you been hiding?
Okay.
Okay, I'll make you host once more, but don't forget to admit people.
Mhm.
Okay, once more, you are the host. Okay.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
By the way, before you start, I do welcome Richard Twig. Hello, Richard. How are you, Richard?
I think there is a connection problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then let me continue.
Okay.
Uh, for the STEM task, as I said, we should give the task first, then let them try to do and come up with. And another problem is, I don't know whether it happens in other countries. Teacher expects students to give full answers, full statements, full sentences. I disagree with this one because in real life, we don't do it. I mean, if somebody asks, "Where is Tom today?" we can say, "Okay, in another city or in the garden or somewhere." Even the answer could be just garden. So we should accept all them and without correcting or without expecting them to make full sentences. So it should be so natural. And sometimes teachers say, when are they going to make full sentence? They are going to make full sentence when they are ready, depending on the task. Okay.
Yeah.
And referencing text, as I said, reference words in the text are subject pronouns, object pronouns, dative words, etc. So by asking these kind of questions to the students, what does she mean in line 2, or everybody mean in line 5, or that mean in line 2? So we create awareness towards them so that they can see the link with the previous statements or previous sentences.
Yeah.
And deducing the meaning of new words from the context is another task, especially with B1 level and above, so that they won't, attack dictionaries as soon as they come across new word, but they have some kind of self-reliance so that they are going to come up with the meaning. But of course, we have to teach them how to use contextual clues in the text. Sometimes we don't have contextual clues in the text. Then for at this level, like a B1, then I add or I just add some contextual clues into the passage, just using it as it is in authentic material, so that students will see it and then we spend some time on it and then they try to guess the meaning. Then if they like, they can check up or look up the dictionary if they really want to have some kind of self-assessment whether they can guess correct or not. But first, I encourage them to do so. And especially when we give this kind of task, rather than giving just one word choice, I mean synonym, antonym, these are for especially native speakers, I guess. But for foreign language learners or second language learners, we should always give simple definitions to the students. Or sometimes we can use pictures or other things, but I prefer simple definitions rather than, okay, what is the meaning of new word or this word in text? Then you ask the antonym or synonym. Maybe it can be done with advanced level students like B2
Brava.
and
Brava.
okay. Inferencing task, what is implied in the first paragraph or it is emphasized in the passage that, so these kind of tasks can be introduced. And author's opinion task, what does the author suggest readers to do about overcoming smoking problems, or what's the attitude of author about environment problem? And the author implies that so students will continue the task by reading or by watching or by listening. So by introducing these kind of tasks, we try to make them process the new information to some extent academically, to some extent to improve their hearing or reading and having the meaning communicatively. And discourse analysis task is very important as well, especially if they are going to write a paragraph. I usually do it, or when they are going to produce a dialogue about the topic, I say, okay, what's the topic sentence in the first paragraph? What are the supporting ideas? What's the concluding statement? What are the keywords indicating examples? What are the cohesive devices used? And then after going through these things, they are aware of the importance of discourse analysis and they produce accordingly. So when I give them a task like this, okay, they just read a passage like this. And I especially prepares this kind of short paragraphs, like 100 or 150 words with A2 level students. I tell them, okay, first let's read it. We do, skimming, scanning task, etc., referencing, and then I say, you are going to write a similar task like this. And I come across some students, and they say, I have nothing in my mind to write. Then in that case, I just encourage them. You don't have to, start from scratch. You can just imitate these things. And look at this, the green ones are cohesive devices. I mean, you put them in a sequence, they make the flow first, after that, later on, in addition, next, finally. It gives you, the steps in the story, the phases in the story. And also, my students usually have a tendency to write just the facts. So I tell them that when you write your paragraph, do not use only facts. It's boring. It's tedious. How can we make it more interesting? Then I want you to add your opinion, feeling. So I give them this pattern when they start producing, either first in written, then in spoken form. So it should be fact, opinion, and feeling pattern with cohesive devices. Then we just make the discourse analysis. Okay, what about the red ones? They talk about the feelings. Now, the black ones, they represent the facts. So the story is this. Last weekend, I was in the garden with my friends and we were happily playing football. Suddenly, a big dog came in and started to bark continuously and chased me. First, I was scared to death. Then I ran away as fast as I could, but he caught me and beat me on my left leg. After that, I shouted and cried a lot because I fell down and my leg was bleeding. My friends got angry with the dog and sent the dog away by shouting at him. Later on, they took me to a hospital, but I sobbed with helpless rage. In the hospital, the doctor looked at it and put some healing cream on it. In addition, he carefully rolled a bandage on it. Next, I had an injection with some pain too. I was very nervous and sad. I almost cried silently. Finally, I stayed in the hospital for 2 days and it was okay. But I can hardly walk now because it is still painful. So as you see, students can see the flow and also facts and feelings.
Yeah.
So I encourage them to do the similar things in their production. Once they produce their own paragraph, that's not enough. Then I say, okay, you are going to, now you have your own original story. You are going to share it with 10 other partners. You choose your partner. So in the classroom, it is, there's a chaos. Someone comes here, someone goes there, the other one chooses this one. Sometimes I arrange them. Sometimes I let them do or share the story whomever they like. So girls prefer girls, boys prefer boys. That becomes like a gang like this. But then later on, I say, okay, I'll make the design. But what I have realized is the same story is told at least 5 times or more. Sometimes I exaggerate 10 times. And I realized that first, when they start telling the story, they read from the paper. But after reading the same story 4 or 5 times, they stop looking at the paper. They just tell the story without looking at it. I
So they,
enjoy
so
watching
they,
them a lot.
they got the trick of the game, as we say.
Yeah.
They got the
Oh,
trick of the game. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like cooking.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to cook, let's say an omelette from your mother, in the control of your mother, and you learn, you follow the instruction. In the second time you do, but you are a bit hesitant.
Yeah.
But if you cook the same food 10 times or 20 times, you just do it without any, the
Without
thinking.
thinking.
Yeah, it's just like driving a car.
Yeah.
Initially, you say, I'm going to do this, do that, turn around. You are very careful, cautious. But later on, you just, start the engine key and drive off.
Yeah.
So language is like this. It should be in a flow. And you just, respond automatically. But in order to do this, we need more practice And I disagree with this. I mean, sometimes students are bombarded with a lot of topics, a lot of tasks. No, the same tasks, but with a certain frequency. And each time they try to hear the story from different person. So that helps them to tolerate different pronunciation, different intonation, and different types of speech. They hear girl's voice, boy's voice, and as I said, different types of language. So that prepares them to hear and tolerate different speeches in the classroom. I have another story like this. Again, the
Yes.
topic is talk about last night. What happened last night, and come up with a what you did last night within 100 or 150 words. Again, the same pattern. They are not going to tell the facts. It's boring. They have to say also talk about the feeling regarding the fact. So again, they have to use cohesive devices as well. This time I changed the colors. Cohesive devices are red. Again, facts are black, but feelings are blue this time. Okay, the story is just like this. First of all, I went home very early. Then I wanted to cook fried eggs and sausages. It's yummy for me, but there weren't any eggs in the fridge. Thus, I went to a supermarket right away and I bought some sausages and 6 eggs. After that, I came home and cooked them. While I was cooking, I listened to pop music. It was relaxing. Later on, I watched Güldür Güldür, a TV series on TV in Turkey, and drank 5 glasses of tea. While I was having tea, I had some delicious chocolate cookies. In addition, I was watching the show. I laughed a lot and enjoyed it very much because it was very funny. Later on, I phoned my mother
طبعا
and
عامة.
we talked about our summer holiday. When I called my mom, she was a bit anxious because my father went abroad for a week. We all talked about the gift he was going to buy for her. I know it's a surprise. After that, I did some homework and read a book quietly. Finally, I went to bed at about 11 o'clock because I felt a bit tired. As you see,
هو بقى كان صالح بيقول لي بقى
Mute Tawfiq, please. Mr. Tawfiq, mute yourself, please.
بقى بنسيبك في مواقع كده
Audio mute.
بتتواصل
I
مع
forgot.
Mute him, please, Turan. Mute all.
Okay, I have muted. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So as you see, for the simple task like this, when some students didn't know how to write or what to write, what to say, I say, this is the model for you. You try to imitate it, and by imitating this, you can come up with your own story and share it with 10 other people. And some teachers think that it's a waste of time, and they say we have 40 minutes. I mean, how can we achieve all that? I say, you teach. I don't know what's the organization in many countries, but in Turkey we have usually 2 classes together. I mean, 40 minutes break, 40 minutes. So in the first hour you can introduce this kind of things, they write it, and in the second hour they can share with each other, and they can spend 20 minutes or half an hour, I don't care. But what I enjoy or what I'm after is, can they share it with other people? And this is the best. I mean, this is the fruit that they come up with. So I believe that the learning process takes place first, comprehending oral or written discourse, and the comprehensible input, of course. Then production through imitation and practice, and gaining competence. But production and imitation and practice production through imitation and practice should go on until they gain